It's the evening of the 17th of April 2019 when Bradley Welsh sets off home after having completed a workout at the Holyrood boxing gym in Edinburgh. At around 8 p.m, he parked his blue Fiat Uno opposite his flat on Chester Street in the capital's New Town area and greeted a neighbour before crossing the road to the stairway leading to the basement entrance to his flat. As he descended, a man appeared behind him and shot him in the head from only a metre away. The sound of the shot alerted the neighbour, who had turned away. He crossed to find Mr. Welsh dead with a wound to his head. Welsh's partner and young child were inside the property, unaware that he was dying in the street. It was akin to a scene in a gangland movie, when an unsuspecting criminal is taken out by a rival over an unpaid debt or a long-standing feud. However, the victim in this case wasn't a criminal. He was a former boxer from an Edinburgh estate, who had gone on to be a star in popular television series Danny Dyer's Deadliest Men, and appeared in a cameo role in the smash hit movie Trainspotting 2. This is the tragic yet fascinating case behind the shooting of Bradley Welsh. You're watching OCG TV. This video is brought to you by Manscaped.com, the global men's lifestyle brand that is revolutionizing the landscape of men's grooming. When you've got the confidence of more than 11 million men worldwide, it's clear that Manscaped has mastered the art of producing superior men's grooming and hygiene tools for your family jewels. Looking to level up your grooming game? Say goodbye to bothersome nose hairs with the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra Kit, which comes complete with the Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer. It's waterproof, cordless, and rechargeable. And guess what? Built with skin-safe technology, this bad boy is designed to tackle those nose and ear hairs with ease. Thanks to Manscaped, my ears are now for listening, not for storing my winter fur collection. And it doesn't stop there. When you purchase the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, you'll receive 2 free gifts. First up, we've got a pair of Boxers 2.0. These are not your regular boxers. They're designed for ultimate comfort. The fabric is awesome and super soft, so soft that they turned my laundry day into an emotional farewell. Manscaped also throw in their Shed 2.0, which is perfect for holding all your new grooming gadgets in. Or if you're struggling for a Secret Santa gift idea for Dave from finance, you could always make his Christmas instead. Manscaped have you covered either way. Head over to manscaped.com and get your hands on the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra today. When you use our promo code OCG, you'll get 20% off plus free international shipping plus 2 free gifts. That's 20% off plus free shipping and 2 free gifts with promo code OCG at manscaped.com. Trust me when I say this, gents, your balls will thank you. Chapter 1. An Unlikely Victim. As a teenager, Mr. Welsh was a member of a notorious band of football casuals known as the Capital City Service, CCS, and 30 years ago was convicted for his part in a protection racket. Following his release, he turned to boxing and in 1993 was crowned British Amateur Lightweight Boxing Champion. A schoolboy boxer to begin with, he went on to become the amateur champion in 1993 and began 4 years as a professional 12 months later, going on to win 8 of his 9 pro fights. Welsh went on to open the Holyrood boxing gym in Edinburgh in 2005, where he ran classes for underprivileged kids. Welsh featured in the television documentary series Danny Dyer's Deadliest Men, giving the actor a tour of Edinburgh's dark side, revealing he had been arrested 7 times at football grounds by the time he was 14. In 2014, he spent 24 hours in the ring, sparring with 360 opponents to raise £44,000 for the Sick Kids Foundation and earned a place in the Guinness Book of World Records. He was also a close friend of Trainspotting author Irvine Welsh, who brought Danny Boyle along to the charity event. It was this chance encounter that led to Bradley Welsh auditioning for a cameo role as gang boss Mr. Doyle in the 2017 film Trainspotting 2. He eventually won the part and starred alongside acting giants Ewan McGregor and Robert Carlyle. He hoped the role might lead to further acting opportunities, but complained that the parts suggested to him would have typecast him as a Scottish hard man. Born among the high-rise blocks of the working-class district of Moradon in the south of Edinburgh, he often appeared to be striving to escape his past. He was a larger-than-life character. He was famously taken to court by budget airline Jet2 after he arranged 4 leaflets to be handed out in Edinburgh city centre that highlighted customer service. The leaflets carry the airline's logo with the words, "Package holidays you can't trust." He had been left unhappy after his suitcase was lost at Lanzarote Airport. He joked at the time that the case contained his Viagra and its loss would ruin his Valentine's Day. He claimed that the company refused to accept liability, so he printed 15,000 leaflets and had them distributed by volunteers in the city centre. Chapter 2. Amateur Hour. The shooter was an amateur who paid no attention to the fact he was shooting one of the most well-known faces in Edinburgh in broad daylight. One of Welsh's neighbours, a 35-year-old male, was going to have a cigarette after speaking to him outside their apartment block when he heard a loud bang and turned to see a man holding a shotgun at his hip. This neighbour was the first of several witnesses and later described the attacker as having a fake tan, being in his mid-20s to early 30s and wearing a heavy puffer-style jacket. The shooter turned and pointed the gun at him and shouted, "Don't effing look at me," at which point the neighbour dived to the ground and crawled behind a parked car before sprinting back to his flat. Coincidentally, Welsh's neighbour had a shotgun certificate and recognised the weapon as a small caliber shotgun. After the shooting, he said that he tried to verify life and rang the emergency services. Another neighbour, a 37-year-old female, was returning from work when she saw a man with his back turned to her at Welsh's flat. When she saw the gun, she turned the opposite way and sprinted to safety. Her husband had heard a bang and phoned her from their home to check if she was okay. She said that she did not feel it was safe for her husband to come to get her and to stay indoors. She later gave a statement to the police in which she said the gun looked old and resembled something you'd see in a museum. She also said that the man wore a baseball cap but could not describe his face. CCTV later showed the suspect running past the Japanese consulate on Melville Street, shortly after 8 p.m, still carrying the shotgun, then fleeing in a stolen Ford Cougar on nearby Manor Place. Meanwhile, paramedics who had tried to keep Welsh alive pronounced him dead 30 minutes after their arrival. A murder investigation was launched with police describing their suspect as aged 20 to 30, 5'10" to 6 foot tall, slim and with a tanned complexion. Detectives trawled through CCTV and found a man wearing distinctive footwear and matching the description. They tracked him driving to Kirk Newton, West Lothian. After studying witness statements, they could put a name to the man they wanted: Sean Orman. Orman had 5 previous convictions for violent crimes. In 2009, he was sentenced to 44 months for assault to severe injury and endangerment of life involving a knife. It was also discovered that 2 days after the murder, he went to a JD Sports in the city centre and spent £1,000 on trainers and sportswear. Unusual behaviour for a man who had no record of employment. In the weeks leading up to the attack, he had made 9 visits to the Indigo sun tanning salon at Fruit Market Place in Edinburgh. The evidence was mounting, and it looked like police had their man. Now it was time to bring him in. Unsurprisingly, Sean Orman did not make himself available to police. He was seen driving an Audi in and around Edinburgh in the early hours of 22nd of April 2019, 5 days after the murder. Police gave chase and Orman recklessly tried to escape, hitting speeds of up to 123 miles per hour. Footage from the police vehicle showed the Audi on the wrong side of the road and going the opposite way around roundabouts. The car was eventually stopped by a police stinger device thrown across the roads after a pursuit lasting about 20 minutes. With Orman now in custody, the case could go to trial. Given the law in the UK, all reasonable doubt had to be removed to ensure the case against him was cast iron. Luckily, the police had an ace or two up their sleeve. Chapter 3: A Star Witness. When the case came to court, the motivations behind the murder became a lot clearer to those outside of the Scottish underworld. A man named Dean White told the court that he had seen Orman at his brother Robert's home on Duddington Row with a man nicknamed Peam 1 month before the murder. He said they were speaking about carrying out an attack on a man and his son in the Oxgangs area for money. He brought a wad of cash out and it was like thousands. He told us that he had seriously assaulted someone in Oxgangs and the guy that he'd assaulted got in the way and that he seriously assaulted his son as well. It is thought he was referring to attacks on David Macmillan and his 25-year-old son of the same name at their home in Pitcairn Grove in Greenbank, Edinburgh on March 13th. 3 armed men stormed their home with bats and swords and inflicted serious injuries on the duo. Mr. Macmillan Sr. sustained a fractured skull, had a bleed on his brain and needed plates put in his arm. Macmillan would later state in court that Orman had not been involved in the attack. Whether he was telling the truth or sticking to the gangland code of a murder is for you to form your own opinion. An hour before the attack at their home, the Macmillans had been to Salton Prison to visit Edinburgh underworld figure Mark Richardson, a man affiliated with the Daniels crime gang from Glasgow. It was widely reported in the Scottish media that the attack was ordered by a man named George Dodd Bagry. However, it should be noted he has not been convicted of this crime. This was part of the evidence given by Dean White, who also revealed that during the same encounter, Sean Orman said he was getting £10,000 to kill Bradley Welsh. Orman was going to do the job and was getting the money from a Dodd Bagry. It was suggested in court that Bagry's conflict with Richardson was what led to the attack on the Macmillans and latterly the shooting of Bradley Welsh. Tragically, Welsh had phoned the associate of Orman, the man named Peam, and tried to calm tensions between the two groups as he was worried that he himself would be targeted for being affiliated to Mark Richardson. Dean White immediately went to the police and told them what had happened at his brother's home and to warn them on the impending possibility of Bradley Welsh being killed. White defiantly stated in the witness box, "I gave the police a chance to go and save a man's life, which they did not do. I told them everything that was going to happen and the guy got murdered." The defense for Orman tried to discredit Mr. White as he had been smoking cannabis at the time of the meeting while also on prescription drugs and methadone to fight heroin addiction. The jury saw through the defense and found Sean Orman guilty. Less than a year later, Dean White, the star witness in the case, was found dead at a flat in East Sussex. He had entered the witness protection programme and had moved to the south of England. His family had also been targeted in the wake of the news that he would provide evidence for the Crown prosecution. His brother was seriously stabbed with an axe only 10 days after the murder. Dean White put his head above the parapet for justice and paid the ultimate price. When sentencing time came, Judge Lord Beckett imposed a minimum term of 28 years for the murder charge and 10 years for the attempted murder charge to run concurrently. He told Sean Orman that he might not be freed after the custodial terms ended and would only be released when the parole board decided he no longer posed a threat to the public. In April 2023, Welsh's angry family rejected an apology from Police Scotland, who admitted gross failures over his killing after a top-level review found officers were told about plans to murder him but didn't act on it. His brother Sean submitted a complaint after the trial and received a report from the Professional Standards Unit upholding his complaint. The family was offered sincerest apologies, and the police stated they were looking at enhanced training for officers. A family member said at the time, "Officers have blood on their hands. For all we know, they are still working in their jobs. No sackings or disciplinary. We're not just going to roll over because we got a sorry. There's no real consequences. Those involved didn't do their jobs and Bradley died. We were told those involved were retrained. Bradley lost his life. Retrained just isn't good enough. We want to see criminal charges brought. It's not likely officers would be named, but those responsible need to be held accountable." In 2019, a graffiti tribute appeared near Easter Road Stadium in Edinburgh. The artwork showed Welsh in a Holyrood boxing gym hoodie and had his name underneath. Despite the closure of Holyrood Boxing Gym and Helping Hands, it is understood that Welsh's legacy still lives on within the working class communities of Edinburgh, with many forever grateful for his charitable heart and selfless actions. Head over to manscaped.com and get your hands on the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra today. When you use our promo code OCG, you'll get 20% off plus free international shipping plus 2 free gifts. That's 20% off plus free shipping and 2 free gifts with promo code OCG at manscaped.com. Trust me when I say this, gents, your balls will thank you.